Most people have no idea. The very person they're intimate with might be using sex as a weapon. Yes, weaponized intimacy is real, and if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it's happening to you right now, even if you don't see it. But here's the kicker. Once you understand these 5 sexual secrets narcissists don't want you to know, you stop being manipulated, and you take your power back. Now, before we move on, I want you to pause for a second. If any of this is hitting too close to home, or you're starting to see patterns you didn't notice before, don't scroll past. Take a moment, grab a notebook, write down what stood out to you, and share this with someone you trust. Awareness is the first step to taking your power back. And if you're ready to learn all 5 sexual secrets narcissists don't want you to know, stay right here, because the next few truths will change the way you see intimacy forever. Narcissists weaponize sex. They don't view intimacy as a mutual exchange or an act of love. Instead, they see it as a tool to assert dominance and manipulate. Think about it. When someone uses their charm or sexual allure to get what they want, it's not about passion, it's about power. A narcissist will reward you with attention and intimacy when you comply with their desires and withdraw it when you don't. This creates a cycle where you're constantly seeking their approval, chasing their affection, and walking on eggshells to avoid punishment. Over time, you may even start questioning your own desires or boundaries because you're so conditioned to their control. They're experts at blending seduction with psychological manipulation. A sudden burst of passion can feel thrilling, but it's often carefully timed to distract you from emotional neglect or manipulation elsewhere. The moment you realize sex is being used as leverage, you start to see patterns that were invisible before. You notice the push and pull, the guilt tripping, the emotional strings attached to intimacy. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming your autonomy. Understanding that sex can be weaponized doesn't make you bitter. It makes you aware. Awareness is power. Once you see the blueprint, you can set boundaries and refuse to participate in their control games. And when you do, that's when the narcissist starts losing their grip. The second secret is this. With a narcissist, sex is rarely about connection. It's about validation. They don't approach intimacy seeking closeness, understanding, or shared pleasure. Instead, every sexual encounter becomes a mirror, reflecting back their ego, their need to feel desired, admired, and superior. When you're with a narcissist, you may feel like you're in a loving relationship, but in reality, you're being enlisted to constantly reassure them of their attractiveness, their power, their worth. It's exhausting because no matter how much you give, it's never enough. They're not seeking your satisfaction, they're seeking themselves. And when you stop providing that validation, when you have needs, boundaries, or feelings they can't control, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, intimacy becomes a weapon. Cold withdrawals, silent treatments, or bursts of exaggerated affection to reel you back in. You're not being rejected for your inadequacy. You're being rejected because you're no longer serving their need for ego reinforcement. Understanding this shifts everything. It explains why you may feel anxious, drained, or even doubting your own reality around sexual encounters. Awareness here isn't about blame, it's about clarity. When you recognize that a narcissist's sexual desire is primarily for validation, you stop confusing their attention with love. You start protecting your emotional and physical boundaries. You reclaim intimacy as a space for connection, not a tool for someone else's ego. And that awareness is the foundation for real empowerment. The third secret is that narcissists thrive on secrecy and taboo. They are masters at creating a hidden world around intimacy, pushing boundaries, normalizing behavior that makes you uncomfortable, and keeping aspects of the relationship behind closed doors. This isn't just about being mysterious or private, it's a calculated strategy. By cultivating secrecy, they maintain control over the narrative, making you question what's normal and what isn't. You might feel uneasy or guilty about things that, under ordinary circumstances, would feel completely acceptable. They use this to blur the line between consent and manipulation, pleasure and obligation, curiosity and shame. Often they will escalate intimacy in ways that feel thrilling or forbidden, convincing you that it's your desire or curiosity that's driving it, when in reality it's a carefully orchestrated plan to maintain power. The secrecy keeps you isolated, dependent, and uncertain. You can't compare notes with friends because, on the surface, everything looks normal. You begin to doubt yourself, your instincts, your boundaries. This manipulation works because human beings naturally feel the tension between curiosity and caution, between excitement and fear. Once you recognize this pattern, you reclaim clarity. You see that the taboo wasn't about you, it was about control. Awareness here is liberation. You learn to name it, set boundaries, and refuse to participate in secrecy that serves someone else's ego. Understanding this secret is a critical step in reclaiming your power and protecting your emotional and sexual autonomy. The fourth secret is this: a narcissist's desire is rarely consistent, it fluctuates strategically. This isn't about normal ups and downs in attraction, it's a calculated tool to control and manipulate. One day, they are intensely passionate, showering you with attention, compliments, and intimacy that feels like a dream. The next, they withdraw, become cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable, leaving you anxious, questioning yourself, and desperate to regain their approval. This push and pull isn't accidental, it's deliberate. They know that uncertainty creates dependence. You start measuring every word, every action, every gesture, trying to predict what will earn their affection next. This pattern keeps you off balance, constantly chasing a feeling of connection that is fleeting and conditional. It trains your mind to prioritize their approval over your own needs, blurring the line between genuine desire and manipulation. When you recognize this cycle, it becomes painfully clear. The highs are designed to hook you, and the lows are designed to control you. Awareness is the antidote. Once you see the strategy behind the fluctuations, you stop internalizing their coldness or glorifying their passion. You stop blaming yourself, stop feeling desperate, and start reclaiming your emotional equilibrium. Understanding that their desire is a tool, not a reflection of real intimacy, empowers you to set boundaries and refuse participation in their control game. You begin to prioritize your own needs, your own rhythm, and your own emotional safety. Once that happens, the narcissist's power to manipulate through fluctuating desire begins to crumble. The fifth secret is perhaps the hardest to admit. Narcissists often use sex to mask abuse. Intimacy becomes a tool to distract from emotional, psychological, or even verbal harm. When you're being criticized, gaslit, or manipulated, a narcissist might escalate sexual attention immediately afterward, creating a sense of relief, pleasure, or connection that confuses your mind. This isn't love. It's a carefully timed distraction, a reset button designed to make you forgive, forget, or question your own feelings about the abuse. You may feel guilt, shame, or even gratitude for the affection, thinking it makes up for the cruelty. But in reality, it's a manipulation tactic. This cycle of abuse and intimacy conditions you to stay, to rationalize harmful behavior, and to associate sexual attention with emotional reconciliation, which is incredibly disorienting. Understanding this secret is essential to protecting yourself. You begin to see that the intimacy isn't genuine reconciliation. It's a tool for control. Recognizing this allows you to set boundaries, to question patterns, and to stop participating in the cycle. You learn that affection shouldn't erase mistreatment, and that pleasure should never come at the cost of your emotional well-being. Once you see the strategy behind it, the power shifts. You no longer accept abuse disguised as intimacy, and the narcissist loses their ability to manipulate your emotions using sex as a smokescreen. Awareness transforms confusion into clarity, and clarity is the first step toward reclaiming your autonomy and your peace of mind. The sixth secret is that narcissists rarely respect consent fully. Consent in a healthy relationship is about mutual agreement, respect, and clear boundaries. With a narcissist, it's often a one-sided negotiation. They may twist your words, guilt you, or pressure you into sexual situations you're uncomfortable with, framing it as love, playfulness, or your own desire. They rely on manipulation to override your comfort, making you question your feelings, doubt your instincts, or feel selfish for asserting yourself. This isn't just about physical intimacy, it's emotional too. They want to control not only your body, but your mind, your decisions, and your reactions. Over time, you may find yourself compromising repeatedly, feeling anxious, or internalizing that your boundaries are unreasonable. The pattern is subtle, but the effect is powerful. You begin to accept intrusion as normal and manipulate your own feelings to accommodate their desires. Recognizing this secret is crucial. Understanding that consent must be active, clear, and respected gives you the framework to reclaim your autonomy. Once you acknowledge that the narcissist's version of agreement is often coercion in disguise, you start to set firm boundaries. You begin to assert your comfort without guilt and to communicate clearly what you will and won't tolerate. Awareness here doesn't just protect your body, it protects your mind, your emotional health, and your self-respect. When you insist on genuine consent, the narcissist's manipulative patterns begin to break down, and you reclaim power over your own life and choices. The seventh secret is that narcissists leverage jealousy and competition as a form of control. They understand that insecurity is a powerful tool, and they use it to keep you off balance. Whether it's flirting with others, implying past or potential partners, or constantly comparing you to someone else, the goal is the same: to make you doubt your worth, question your attractiveness, and chase their approval. This isn't about healthy jealousy or normal relational dynamics. It's a calculated tactic. You may find yourself scrutinizing your every word, action, and appearance, constantly trying to measure up to an invisible standard they've created. The narcissist thrives on this tension because it reinforces the power dynamic. The more insecure you feel, the more you invest energy in pleasing them, validating them, and seeking their attention. Often the manipulation is subtle, disguised as concern, teasing, or even playful banter, which makes it even more disorienting. Recognizing this secret is liberating. You begin to see that their comparisons are not reflections of reality. They are tools designed to control your emotions. Awareness allows you to stop internalizing their manipulations and start reinforcing your own self-worth. You can set boundaries, refuse to compete, and focus on your value independent of their games. Once you stop responding to their manufactured insecurities, their power weakens, and the constant tension they thrive on begins to dissolve. Understanding this secret shifts the balance, giving you clarity, confidence, and control over your own emotional life. The eighth secret is that narcissists often use sexual history as a weapon. They may bring up past encounters, exaggerate them, twist the truth, or shame you over experiences that have nothing to do with the present. This isn't about curiosity or normal conversation. It's a strategy designed to control, humiliate, or destabilize you. By weaponizing your past, they make you feel exposed, guilty, or insecure, and they create an environment where your boundaries, self-respect, and confidence are constantly under attack. You may notice that even minor references to your history trigger conflict, defensiveness, or manipulation. The narcissist's goal is to keep you off balance emotionally, to make you question your own memory or perception, and to assert dominance through shame. Recognizing this secret is essential to reclaiming power. Understanding that your past is not a tool for someone else's control allows you to disengage from their attempts to manipulate or provoke you. Awareness here empowers you to set clear boundaries, refuse participation in their games, and maintain your dignity. You learn to separate your own self-worth from their attacks and to respond calmly rather than react emotionally. Once you stop giving them the leverage they seek, their ability to use your history against you disappears. Recognizing that sexual history is not a weapon in your hands, but has been weaponized by them, puts you back in control of the narrative. Clarity and self-respect replace confusion and manipulation, and you start to reclaim the emotional and sexual autonomy that was stolen. Now here's the bottom line. Once you understand these 8 sexual secrets, the game changes completely. You see, narcissists rely on control, manipulation, and secrecy to maintain power over you. They weaponize sex, seek validation instead of connection, exploit taboo and secrecy, fluctuate their desire strategically, use intimacy to mask abuse, disregard consent, provoke jealousy, and twist your sexual history into a weapon. Each of these tactics is designed to keep you anxious, insecure, and dependent on their approval. But knowledge is power. Awareness is the key that unlocks the cage. When you recognize these patterns for what they are, you stop blaming yourself, you stop rationalizing their behavior, and you stop participating in their games. You reclaim your boundaries, your consent, and your self-respect. You start to see intimacy as it should be, mutual, safe, and empowering, not a tool for manipulation. And here's the truth nobody else will tell you. The moment you refuse to play by their rules, the narcissist loses control. Their power over you evaporates because it was never about you. It was about feeding their ego. You now have the clarity to make choices that honor your well-being, the confidence to protect your emotional and sexual autonomy, and the courage to demand respect in every area of your life. Remember, no one can manipulate or control you unless you let them. Once you understand these secrets, that ends. You take back your power, and the narcissist's games stop. And that, my friends, is freedom.